problem is, like, if I talk to Jasmine Jafar or Farha Khalidi or anybody about this, they're going to say, well, I'm not friends with Destiny anymore.
Wait a second. No. You're getting all this wrong.
What?
It's way worse.
Way
Worse than that.
I want to say, just before you say anything, this man had my back from day
what I'm saying is
way worse.
You couldn't we're talking about claiming to be a victim.
Yes.
You couldn't. You had, but the problem is, here's my biggest issue is that after you're completely proven right, there's all this nonsense they made up about you having some racist Twitter account.
Yeah.
People still can't go back and say, okay, unequivocally, this was proven to be right. Clearly, this whole thing was a smokescreen to throw at Rolo because he was on to something. And it was, realistically, her husband came to you. It was like, you weren't Inspector Gadget here. Yeah. But like the point, and you were defending him for this. And my point is, like, when you talk about being a victim, it's like on the one hand, you want to be this tough person, and on the other hand, you can't be a victim. Rolo wasn't asking people to feel sorry for him. He was just straight up saying, hey, this is what the truth is, and nobody was there to hear it. Yeah. But yeah, what were you saying about it? It was even worse than that.
Well, that was part of that op.
Yeah.
Was the framing. You
Yeah,
have to understand.
I'm glad you called it an op.
That was part of the op, was the framing. I will take you, if you guys want to hear what I think happened from the beginning,
please.
Let me try to outline it as best I can. I wasn't prepared for this, but I'll try my best.
Yeah.
So I had been hearing, I want to say this was a couple of years ago. I had been hearing through Twitch politics, which was a thing I was involved in that you guys were not. Okay. Twitch politics worked like this at the time. Destiny and Hassan Piker set the narrative, but mostly Destiny set the narrative for the day. All the orbiters from Twitch politics would repeat his narrative. And what they were trying to do is siphon off portions of his audience on Twitch to come and listen to their takes about whatever genius thing he was saying. So if Destiny said, if condoms slip off, it's not rape, right? Then everybody on Twitch politics is having debates about whether or not if condoms slip off, it's this, to try to incentivize DGG. And that's shorthand for Destiny's community. That's called DGG. Vosh's community is called VGG. The reason they call it DGG, VGG, is because DGG is the short form for his website, okay? It's .gg, and it's totally free for a person to make a .gg. He's destiny.gg. Vosh is vosh.gg. And there's multiple of these. So when we say DGG going forward here in the conversation, you'll know that I'm referencing that community, okay? Now, DGG had been, kind of on the low side, discussing that there was an affair between Destiny and a high-level conservative influencer, okay? Now, the Crucible had gotten wind of it because we've infiltrated every leftist Discord and leftist Telegram that we possibly could, and even at that time, I was ingratiating myself into it so that I could stay as informed as possible to wreck these degenerate acts. So we'd been hearing about this, right? And there was some who knew then that this was going on, okay? Many of his inner circle knew that he was boning Lauren Southern. It wasn't just Chud Logic. There was other people who was in his inner circle who knew it as well. And they basically were outright saying it. They were basically, without saying it, they were saying it. And they thought it was a big funny joke, right? Like, oh, haha, you stupid simp conservatives are going on here while Lauren's, and saying Lauren is so beautiful and you're so based, and she's the Coomer Gremlin. They couldn't believe it. So anyway, I had asked Destiny in a famous debate now. I just point blank asked him, I said, are you Lauren Southern?
Was this on PWF?
Yeah.
I was there. I think I was one of the panelists,
I said, Lauren Southern? And the man, you saw not so erudite, who knew, they all knew that this was going on, right? All start freaking out. How dare you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, right? With any other chick at any other time, if I asked Destiny this question, he'd be like, yeah, sure. Right? He wouldn't care. This one time you're going to get morally out, get the out of here, right? So we knew at the time he was boning Lauren Southern. Now, Southern, at this time, now she hates my guts, right? She really hates my guts. She's going back and forth with Rachel in DMs and like this, and she comes out with this big video expose about how she moved to Canada to fight off all the bears in this small community because that's all that was left to her, and how she had to boil her own water, and she was a boss babe broad, right? And Rachel's like, you're full of shit, lady. While this was going on, there was a conspiracy which was being collaborated between DGG, Destiny, Brittany Venti, Lauren Southern, and other mean girls actually who were involved in this that you may not know. I've always thought that Hillary Crowder was a part of this, and other women were a part of this as well because they're all part of this mean girls clique. They have telegrams, Instagrams, things like this, where they're in a large message thread. Pearl Davis has infiltrated them. I have many of the messages, okay? So while this is going on, they were trying to do this op. What happened in reality is this woman's ex-husband did actually get a hold of Rolo. That was real, okay? Was discussing these things with him, okay? She got wind that was going on is what happened. And in order to cover up this affair, right, she basically framed him. She framed Rolo, and Destiny knew it, and they had it all planned to enhance it as much as possible. So the idea was Venti began to send fake emails, right, as Rolo's just trying to answer the questions, get at the information, you know what I mean? And they had an op, and the op was to destroy Rolo Tomasi, primarily not because Lauren Southern didn't like him or Destiny didn't like him. Venti didn't like him, and Venti was good friends with Lauren Southern, and Lauren Southern was Destiny, so she had that resource, right? And she had the leftist resource. So it was on op by Venti. Another woman who was involved in it was Chrissy Mayer, right, who was best friends with Venti at the time. Now you'll note that Chrissy Mayer has a huge back catalog of people that Venti has gone after. Almost any woman who goes on who she likes, Venti tries to destroy, right? Mm-hmm. So all of these women were in this Mean Girls clique, right? Cat Canada, all of them. They're all in this Mean Girls clique. Another one, Tree of Logic, another one that hates Rolo. I guarantee you that at some capacity she was involved in this as well. But it was definitely an op. Meaning, and here's what I mean by op. I'll be very clear and concise with my language just in case any DGGers or Destiny or whoever tries to pick this out later. It's a coalition of conspirators who are using back channels to communicate to each other for the purposes of hurting somebody's credibility.
Yeah.
Okay? Hurting somebody's credibility or in some way embarrassing them or something like this. And they're doing it in a conspiratorial way. Yeah. Now, all a conspiracy is a collaboration, loose collaboration or tight collaboration of people who are all moving towards the same goal. In this case, the goal is always illicit or it's not conspiratorial, right? The illicit goal was to discredit and destroy Rolo Tomasi. And it was very clear that was going on. Now, I was at the forefront saying, you're stupid. This is ridiculous. You guys are out of control. Who falls for this op? And we basically got a lot of it uncovered, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is why weren't the Tradcons there wrecking these liberal scumbags who are talking? Well, here's why. Because Lauren Southern was one of them. And at this time, it's still, to this day, most trad conservatives have no idea that Southern was Destiny.
Yeah.
For a long time.
You know,
and cheating on her husband, I believe.
And like I was going to say, also, she was just psychotically borderline personality disorder.
She was wearing her wedding ring while and saying she was married live on stream while she was behind the scenes screwing Destiny.
So here's the thing that I find most ironic about this, because I've had several conversations with Steve and Destiny, and if he had come out and said, "Yeah, I'm screwing this conservative," but no one, we would all been like, "High five, bro, good job." Like,
do you know why he didn't? I'll tell you
why.
Well, at the time,
this was Melina, right?
Yeah, at the time he was thinking about leaving Melina for her. Like, this has now come out since, right? But this is my rudimentary understanding is that. He was having marital issues, go figure, open relationship, right? He's having marital issues, and he was thinking about a serious and significant relationship with her. Melina has come out and said that Destiny was basically involved in an emotional affair with another woman. Yeah. It wasn't just about sex, and the reference there is to Lauren Southern. So the reason that he was keeping that under wraps is because he was going through, what later became a divorce, and at the time was trying to be a quiet separation. So all of this, though, was an op in order to shut Rolo up because Rolo was talking about the fact
I was getting too close to the truth.
Hey, Southern's fucking him. The whole her wearing a wedding ring thing is not true. There's a big LARP going on here, and that was hurting her credibility. They wanted to shut him up, so they pulled the op.
One more time. Lauren Southern's husband came to you. Yeah. You didn't wake up one morning and say, "How do I destroy Lauren Southern?"
Correct.
And by the way, let me say this for the second time. finding out that Destiny was banging Lauren Southern doesn't hurt Destiny at all. So that's why I was so confused why he was willing to go to the lengths he was to try to destroy you.
I think it's because I was getting too close. I didn't even know I was. I was getting too close to a truth or a secret that they wanted to keep under wraps at that time. Because if I come out there and if I go and I did later on made public the exchanges I had with her ex-husband. Her ex-husband came to me in the December of 2022 and just was asking me about legal issues because he was in Australia and their kids were in Canada, and he was trying to find a lawyer or somebody who would, he came to me because he thought that I was sort of an MRA or something like that, and we ended up having some really good conversations as a result of that. And through that, I find out about her history with Tate. I find out about her history with Destiny, that there was still haven't had any confession of this, but there was a pregnancy between Destiny and her. Whether that was a real actual abortion took place, I don't know that they did, but according to her ex-husband, there was a child involved. If it came out that Destiny impregnated Lauren Southern and she aborted it, that is a real hit to her brand. That's a real hit to her conservative brand.
No, I mean, the brand's destroyed.
Yo, it is so now, but back then it was.
Well, her and the Mean Girls Club dissolved shortly after it was finally confirmed that this was going on while she was wearing her wedding band.
Yeah.
And I think, and now maybe I'm getting the line here wrong, but I don't think I am. I think that she was actually still married while she was sleeping with Destiny.
Well, she left. She had what I did was she was because she was frequently on Tim Pool, and somebody had sent me a picture of her with her wedding ring on Tim Pool, and it's like, isn't she divorced? And I'm like, yeah. Well, so I tweeted out, why is Lauren still wearing her wedding ring? She's been divorced for 8 months, right? And I didn't know what I was stepping in, the minefield I was stepping into by just doing that one tweet. But apparently that was enough to sort of trigger.
Well, these are well known. This is a well known tactic throughout the Twitch sphere. They're called gay ops, and the reason they call them gay ops is because it used to be that they would spread rumors that conservative, pundits were gay. Yeah. Right? That was the big one. Now it's pedo-jacketing, right? The idea, and the pedo-jacketing is really funny now because it's gone into like he was sleeping with a 21-year-old when he was 30. It's like, now it just doesn't have the same effect. You know what I mean?
And now we find out Destiny's been sleeping with the 17-year-old.
But even if it's the case, it's like, it's really hard to get rational people when you're like, yeah, she's 21 and he's 30 to be like, anything other than so. It's like, so what? Nobody gives a shit, right? That's clearly not a pedo, So that's really funny, but that's what they're known as, gay ops, and that's what this was. It was an op. It was designed specifically to destroy the credibility, and the reason why it was going on is because at this time they were trying to maneuver into a potential relationship, but Destiny was married, so was she. Okay, so because of that, now Destiny, I guess to his credit, he was in an open relationship, so he could just kind of do that. But she didn't seem to like the emotional aspect of the affair, which is what happens.
She made mention of that when they were on Lex Friedman, too.
Yeah, she didn't like it. And then on the flip side to that, you have Southern, who's trying to convey to her conservative audience that she's still married, right? She's wearing the ring and this and that. It's a dark secret which would kind of destroy the credibility of both in a way, but just less so for Destiny. When you're a Coomer, what do you care, right? But for her, it would have been disastrous. So it was always going to come out, but with Rolo, they were teaching him a lesson, right? We're going to teach you a lesson. If you know too much about the sisterhood and what's going on here, right, we're going to come for you. I had the same I had hit pieces made on me about all kinds of crazy shit, okay? That I'm responsible for the death of my stepson, that I'm responsible for just crazy, right? And that all backfired. But with Rolo, what got him was the fact that the bait and switch, the idea that he still thought he was communicating with this guy, and it turned out that on the back end, they were opping him. But how the hell would he have known? And it blew up in their face a little bit because how to destroy your credibility 101, right?
Well, also,
we will op you.
You had forms that you never showed on YouTube specifically because they were trying to trick you into a HIPAA violation, and you didn't fall for it. And let me say one other thing. Did this destroy your book sales?
No, not at all.
Did this destroy anything going on with your YouTube?
No.
So that's the other part about
Well,
this.
it destroyed the credibility the other way. Like, why would you at this point want to do business with Lauren Southern? right?
Yeah.
Lauren Southern has proven that even if she's in an illicit affair, the lengths that she'll go to cover it up will be to destroy somebody who didn't do anything to her,
All you gotta do is-
except ask her a question about the presentation of her. So why would you do business with that? But not only that, why are you doing business with these women who are involved in the politics of personal destruction to begin with? Look, there's a lot you guys say I don't agree with, okay? An awful lot, and vice versa. If I ever engaged in the politics of personal destruction with any of you?
No, of course not.
Dude, you went to
Never.
bat for me.
Never
during that time.
engaged. Because to me, the idea is the ideas, right? And I think mine are best. I think mine are better. And because of that, I think that I can convince the most amount of people by coming on here and having those conversations. The ideas of the politics of personal destruction happens with these women for one reason only. They can't. They can't. They can't do that. And so I would just always advise this, right? And this is a lesson I learned from that whole fiasco and several of my own, right? Just don't discuss anything with women. Just don't deal with women in any kind of professional capacity. If it's in entertainment, if it's in online, because here reputational damage has an effect that it doesn't have in the normal world.